Hello. I'm Jeremy Horniak, and I chose to do my story on Catherine Ann Porter's The Jilting of Granny Weatherall. Now, there are several characters. The main character, namely, is Granny, and she is a old woman who is on her deathbed. Damn it. And she is dealing with some issues such as, denial about some of the issues she didn't deal with in her life. And, she's reflected upon them and has a lot of regret. Second character that comes across is Father Connolly. Now, I know this is not his exact depiction, but I thought Rowan Atkins was a great priest. So, he seems to be an older gentleman who shares a close bond with Granny and visits her frequently. So is a close confidant and seems to be a source of comfort for her. Another character that we have is Dr. Harry. Now, I remember this guy. He's from Scrubs, a young lad, and this seemed to be fitting because she is a very condescending towards the doctor. Saying such things as, "What do you know? You know, you weren't even born the last time I dealt with some of these issues." And she's in total denial about her dying, and this is exactly where she's at. She's on her deathbed, and yeah, it's old little Granny slowly dying. And so there's some of the issues that her actions make me feel that she is, well, for one, she has dementia. She doesn't seem to have a clear recollection of many of the events of what's transpiring um, in the most recent. Her memory is foggy, except for the ones that seem to have disdained her. So, and I'm sure along with this disease, she has a cocktail that she's been administered by the by old Dr. Harry, and this is probably around turn of the century, and some of the drugs they used were, you can get aspirin laced with heroin. Pretty good combination if you ask me. It'll cure a little bit of pain. But it was typical for that period, and so one of the consequences of having that would be the effects that she was talking about, having her skin feel like she was coming off of her bones, the effect that she was falling. And I mean, I've had an opiate before, and I could relate. It actually is like made me think back, like, wow, that was it was a short but very intense trip. And I remember being driven home from the hospital with my wife, and I would just, it was a good car ride. So, but anyway, to analyze some of these characters, you know, um, there there was a couple characters that didn't quite make it to Granny's side, which was George, and it felt like old Georgie had left her at the altar, and she never quite got over that. She mentioned that she was a tough old bird apparently, because she was talking about digging fence posts and laying them, and she had only a boy to help her out. You know, so I mean it's a lot of work even for a couple men, let alone an older lady and a boy. And then there was Hapsy. I felt that Hapsy wasn't alive, and that's the reason why that child wasn't there. She most likely died during childbirth. That was kind of what they alluded to. So, but there were some morals or uh, what the hell am I trying to say? Um, some stories that you could have taken that out of it. So like Granny was on her deathbed, and she didn't want to admit it. She when she had her bouts of full consciousness, she was making plans for tomorrow, talking about how she had to clean and dust, and it seemed that she was a very organized woman. She had a very structured routine. Like she was talking about all her spice jars had to be arranged perfectly. Her dusting, she maintained a house even without a man. She was very adamant about that. But when she regressed further into the dementia, she her last few hours were just, her bouts between, sanity and, you know, between the drugs and the dementia. She was in agony. Kind of realizing her end was coming, and she, well, was regretting like not dealing with the issues. She was angry about Hapsy not being there. She was angry about George leaving her at the altar. And much much of this the lingering torment was attributed to what I believe the crux of the story came to be was that if you pacify your anger, you don't deal with it, it will eventually come back stronger, and it will ultimately leave you with a life of regret. So, but and this was another significant part that it was only mildly mentioned was that she at 60 years old she had a sickness of like double pneumonia and another affliction where it seems to me that she was giving a second opportunity to right um, whatever she felt was wrong. And it seems to me that she continued to live in the manner that she was living previously. So it was all for naught, and it seems that a majority of the conversations that were taking in place were not actually with the other characters. A lot of the conversations seemed to actually be within herself. So when she was kind of like talking to like Cornelia, saying that she's too good, I would actually enjoy spanking her. That was I I don't feel that that was said aloud to Cornelia. I felt that was like that was something that she was conversing with herself, and there was a lot of those quotes that were coming in and out, and it was a little difficult to follow. But that's my synopsis on the story, and I would like to thank my wife for helping me with some of the pictures, and my daughter Malia, who liked to
draw and cut them.
yeah, she wrote all the names and glued all the pictures on.
And cut them.
And cut them too. Thank you.